Nature can be subtle. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing just yet, but it's certainly true. I'll give you some examples. Take Newton's laws. Newton's laws of motion and gravity are powerful tools that enable us to understand and decode the movement of objects in the solar system. And it's worked in every place we'd ever applied it. So why not be cocky about it and say it'll work even in places we have yet to imagine? These methods and tools are empowering our capacity to understand objects in the solar system. Okay, I'm with you on that. That Newton's laws, they're good. They're good. But let's see what happened. Over the centuries, careful timing of the movement of Mercury around the sun, that's the innermost planet. It orbits in an ellipse. It turns out the ellipse precesses around the sun. We've known this. This is not news, right? While Mercury is orbiting, the entire ellipse precesses ever so slightly. All right, we're fine. Turns out, when you calculate how quickly this should precess, and then you observe how fast it's precessing, those two numbers do not match. They differ from each other by, if you're angle fluent, 43 arc seconds per century. That's small, and it took a long time to establish that baseline of measurement to say that these two do not agree. All right, well, what's causing it? Nobody knew. But in 1859, riding high on his successes with the planet Neptune, Leverrier said, I got this. Look, I've been there before. How do you think I helped you find Neptune out there? There must be some other source of gravity we've yet to tally in our inventory of objects in the inner solar system. So he said, I got it. Maybe there's a belt of asteroids, a second asteroid belt in the solar system between Mercury and the sun. And the collective gravity, that's what's giving an extra tug on Mercury. Within a few years of that, there was an astronomer who made a measurement of a planet moving across the sun's surface, a planet that was not Mercury. Leverrier said, okay, I don't need the asteroid belt. It must be that object. In fact, I'll name it. I'll call it Vulcan. Awesome name for a planet. Anything that close to the sun, that's the name it has to have. That's the root of the word volcano. So that became the scapegoat for this extra tugging on Mercury to create that difference in the precession. Problem is, another person with a better telescope observing the sun at the same time as this other astronomer was making his measurements said, I saw nothing go across the sun. There must be something wrong with your measurements. And practically overnight, Vulcan disappeared from the data. It was a faulty measurement that had been reported. So now Leverrier was left with nothing to credit for the movement of Mercury.